The Olympic Games have always stood as a monument to human aspiration, a stage where nations gather not just to compete, but to celebrate courage, endurance, and the unyielding spirit of those who dare to chase greatness. For some, the Games become a symbol of triumph and unity, moments where dreams reach their brightest light. But for a few, the same pursuit that defines glory ends in heartbreak. These are the stories of Olympic dreams that turned into tragedy. Moments when the spirit of human achievement collided with the fragility of life itself. It was July 14, 1912, and the summer sun blazed mercilessly over Stockholm. The fifth modern Olympic Games were underway, and among the events that day was the marathon, 40.2 kilometers through the unspoiled Swedish countryside. The temperature soared to nearly 90 degrees Fahrenheit, creating conditions that tested every runner's endurance in an era when medical science was still learning how to protect athletes from the extremes of nature. Francisco Lazaro, a 21-year-old Portuguese runner, stood at the starting line with calm determination. Competing in Portugal's Olympic debut, he carried not just his own hopes, but the pride of a nation still new to the global sporting stage. His body was lean, his eyes focused. To combat the intense sun, he had coated his skin in a mixture of oil and wax, a decision meant to prevent sunburn, but one that would tragically seal his fate. As the marathon began, the runners pushed through dusty rural roads with minimal water stations, the heat radiating off the earth. By the halfway mark, Lazaro was visibly struggling, his body unable to sweat, his temperature rising dangerously high. Spectators watched helplessly as his strides faltered, determination fighting against biology. Near the 19th mile, his strength gave out completely. He collapsed to the ground, unconscious, his body temperature spiking beyond the limits of survival. He was rushed to a nearby hospital, but medical knowledge at the time could not reverse the damage. Francisco Lazaro died the following morning of heat stroke, the first Olympic athlete to lose his life during competition. His death shocked the sports world, prompting organizers to introduce water stations and medical staff along marathon routes, changes that would save countless future runners. Though he never finished his race, Lazaro became a symbol of sacrifice, a reminder that even the purest dreams can demand the highest price. Almost 50 years later, another Olympic tragedy unfolded under a scorching sun. It was August 26, 1960, in Rome. The 100-kilometer team time trial was one of cycling's most grueling events, demanding hours of relentless effort, precision teamwork, and sheer willpower. That day, the temperature soared to a deadly 104 degrees Fahrenheit, turning the Italian roads into an oven. Knud Enemark Jensen, a 23-year-old Danish cyclist, stood beside his teammates, focused and ready. Years of training in Denmark's cold winds had led him to this moment. The Danish team was among the favorites, but no preparation could match the punishing heat of that Roman afternoon. As the race began, the team moved with clockwork rhythm, cutting through the countryside with fluid precision. But as the hours wore on, the riders' bodies began to rebel against the brutal heat. Dehydration and exhaustion set in, invisible enemies growing stronger with each mile. Jensen's teammates noticed his labored breathing, his head drooping, but the race demanded focus. Then, without warning, Jensen lost control, collapsing from his bike and crashing hard onto the pavement. His helmet offered little protection, few cyclists wore them then, and the impact fractured his skull. Medics rushed to his aid, working desperately as he was transported to a nearby hospital. Despite their efforts, the combination of severe heat stroke and head trauma proved fatal. Knud Enemark Jensen was pronounced dead that same day. His passing reverberated through the cycling community and changed Olympic history. In the aftermath, the International Olympic Committee established stricter medical supervision and accelerated moves toward stricter medical supervision and wider adoption of helmets in elite cycling. The loss of Jensen's life forced the world to reconsider the price of endurance in the face of nature's extremes. Three decades later, tragedy struck again, this time in the cold mountains of the French Alps. It was February 22nd, 1992, at Les Arcs, during the Albertville Winter Olympics. The air was crisp, the sky clear, and the mountains glistened under a pale sun. For the athletes competing in speed skiing, it was a perfect day, perhaps too perfect. Among them was Nicolas Bochatet, a 27-year-old Swiss skier known for his courage and precision. Speed skiing was only a demonstration sport that year, yet it symbolized the cutting edge of human daring. On skis, these athletes hurtled down slopes at over 120 miles per hour, faster than most cars on a highway. For Bochatet, it was a dream come true, a chance to show the world the beauty and power of his sport. That morning, before the finals, Nicolas joined teammates for a warm-up run on a nearby slope. Conditions were perfect: slick snow, bright visibility. But in a cruel twist of fate, as Bochatet crested a small hill at tremendous speed, a snow grooming machine was crossing ahead, its lights flashing in warning. Traveling too fast to stop, he collided with the snowcat in an instant that left no chance for survival. The impact was catastrophic. Bochatet died instantly. His teammates stood in disbelief as news spread across the Olympic Village. The speed skiing finals went on as planned, but the mood was somber, and many competitors withdrew in mourning. After his death, the sport was permanently removed from the Olympic program. Bochatet's passing underscored the razor-thin line between bravery and peril, a reminder that even at the pinnacle of control, fate can turn a moment of mastery into tragedy. Just 4 years later, the Olympic stage was shaken again, not by sport, but by violence. It was July 27th, 1996, in Atlanta, Georgia. The city's Centennial Olympic Park was alive with celebration. Music filled the humid summer air as thousands gathered for a free concert meant to showcase the unity and joy of the Games. Among them was Alice Hawthorne, a 44-year-old Albany mother who had saved for months to bring her daughter to the Olympics. As the band Jack Mack and the Heart Attack played under the glow of stage lights, the crowd danced and cheered, unaware of the danger lurking among them. Security guard Richard Jewell, ever watchful, noticed a suspicious backpack near a sound tower and began clearing the area. But time was running out. At 1:20 a.m., the bomb exploded. The blast tore through the crowd, shrapnel slicing the air, and the music stopped in an instant. Screams filled the park as chaos replaced celebration. Over 100 people were injured. Alice Hawthorne was struck by fragments from the device, her injuries fatal. Her daughter survived, but her life was changed forever. The bombing cast a shadow over the Atlanta Games, a grim reminder that even the Olympic spirit could not escape the world's violence. Alice's death, the only direct fatality of the attack, prompted sweeping changes to Olympic security that endure to this day. What was meant to be a symbol of peace became a turning point in how the Games protected those who came to witness them. The final story unfolds in the frozen silence of Whistler, British Columbia. It was February 12, 2010, hours before the Vancouver Winter Olympics opening ceremony. The Whistler Sliding Center, carved into the mountainside, gleamed under a pale sun. The track was the fastest ever built, 17 ice curves designed for speed, pushing luge athletes to over 95 miles per hour. Among the competitors that morning was Nodar Kumaritashvili, a 21-year-old from Georgia. It was his Olympic debut, the culmination of years of training with limited resources and a burning dream to honor his father's legacy in the sport. Small in frame but immense in courage, Nodar had struggled to master Whistler's treacherous turns during practice. Still, his determination never wavered. As he launched into his final training run, the air buzzed with anticipation. The first sections were smooth, his form precise, his speed building. But as he approached the track's final turn, a slight steering misjudgment proved fatal. His sled struck the sidewall, launching him over the track at nearly 90 miles per hour. In an instant, he collided with an unpadded steel pillar, the impact catastrophic. Emergency crews reached him within seconds, but it was too late. Nodar Kumaritashvili was pronounced dead soon after, just hours before the Olympic torch was lit. His death sent shockwaves through the sporting world. The track was immediately modified, its walls raised, and padding added to prevent future accidents. His passing reignited debate over the pursuit of speed and the boundaries of safety in elite sports. In the years since, the memory of these athletes, Lazaro, Jensen, Bochatai, Hawthorne, and Kumaritashvili, has become a haunting thread woven into Olympic history. They remind us that the quest for greatness, while noble, carries risks that transcend medals and records. Each gave everything to the games they loved, their names now etched into the story of human perseverance. The Olympics remain a beacon of unity and ambition. But beneath the triumphs lies a quieter truth, that even in the brightest moments of glory, the line between victory and tragedy is as fragile as a heartbeat. For more evidence-based stories like these, subscribe.